So, guess what? It's time again for the May Wyld West Show, the podcast where we tell the hedonistic adventures of myself, my husband, Mr. West, and my friends in the modern American Wild West. Yeah, the Rocky Mountain region, where it's usually so damn cold that we've got nothing better to do than fuck from October till March. This is the show where we tell the stories of our sometimes reckless, usually sexy, probably awkward, and always thrilling lives. My name is, of course, May Wyld West, and I'm a trophy wife, embarrassing mom, the loudest person pretty much anywhere, and a member of a super secret squirrel shit naughty club. My husband and I swing, sometimes hot wife, but mostly just enjoy spending time with our friends and having kinky sex. My entire life, I've had a tendency to get myself into some amazing adventures and sticky situations. Partially because my curiosity gets me into trouble, and partially because my motto is, I'll try anything for science. Once, probably twice. But if you're going to follow the scientific method, at least 3 times. The stories we share will be sexy, spicy, and completely inappropriate for kids. Think sex, drugs, rock and roll, and a load of laundry. As always, this podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered medical or even sometimes good advice. Now, let's full send into today's episode. So, guess what I did? Recorded this entire episode wearing a butt plug, and Mr. West doesn't even know. Hey everyone, today on the podcast we're going to have my wonderful husband, Mr. West, again. First thing we're going to do is I realize that everybody doesn't always know as much about my husband as I do, so I figured I'd ask him a few questions. And when I have other hosts on, guests on, I'm going to ask them the same questions, and I'm going to call it Probing Partners in Crime. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then after that, we are going to talk about some of the most awkward things ever that have happened to us with couples, especially these were both when we were starting out. And then we're going to give you what we think are our red light, green lights on whether or not we're going to hook up with some people. So, all right, Mr. West, thank you for joining me today and helping me out with this one about having awkward interactions with couples.
Ought to be interesting. I appreciate you inviting me back. Sometimes I wonder if you like me or not.
Oh, sometimes I wonder if I like you or not. So it works out real well.
Right.
Well, you get to be the first victim of Probing Partners in Crime. So I have 5 questions I'm going to ask you, and you give me your honest answer, or at least as honest as you want to be. Sexual orientation that you identify as. What do you identify as?
I would probably say hetero flexible, I think. I don't know. It comes down to a hedonistic thing still for me. So it's not like, I don't know. That one's a tough one, I think, because then you got to put yourself in a box, and I'm not so good with boxes.
Right. It's sort of like whenever I tell you what to do and you tell me you do what you want, right?
Kind of like that. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, favorite sex position.
Depends on the day. Probably top 3 would be doggy, and then like missionary, but with your legs behind your head, and then the one where you lay on your side, and I straddle your one leg, and your other leg's up against your chest.
Ooh, I like that one.
That one's a good one.
That's a good one.
But depends on the mood.
Okay, so pet peeve in the lifestyle.
Pet peeve. Ignoring one partner is probably the worst.
Yeah, or one partner who doesn't want to engage.
Right. Those 2 things are probably the biggest red flag pet peeves,
yeah,
as far as couples go, I guess. And then really at the end of the day, if you want to go in the entire lifestyle, I'd probably have to say just fucking showing up and being honest.
Oh my God, show the fuck up.
Right? If you're going to if you say you're going to show up, show up. If you don't want to show up, don't show up. If you want to tell me to go fuck myself, that's cool too. I like honest.
Girl on Reddit who said that to get a gangbang to get what was it? It was like 5 guys. They invited 40, or
I thought they got 12, or was it only 5?
maybe it was 12.
Because
I
she
don't
was
know. It was
concerned
10%.
because she said that they had tried it
Or
before, and that generally it's a like 2 out of every 10 that you invite. Like 20% of the people you invite,
that's what it was.
probably the ones that show up.
25%, because she got 10
20,
guys to show
25,
up,
yeah.
and yeah, that's what it was. See, there you go. I don't know. I remember her saying that she invited 40 guys. And I was like, oh my God.
Right? What
That's
the
a
fuck you
lot.
do if all 40 show up?
Right? Hand out tickets. If you got the golden ticket,
Rain
then you
check.
get in.
Be like, okay,
Otherwise,
people are
it's
out.
a rain
That's it.
check.
We're gonna call it a day.
It's a rain
Or
check. That's funny.
gotta do some more coke and continue on.
There you go. All right. Current favorite kink.
Ah, the public like dogging type stuff, or just the public kind of stuff is where I'm at anyway. Interesting lifestyle choices there.
You're right. I think that I'm into the exhibitionist, all of that stuff right at the moment too. I mean, not like public go to jail. Ooh, risky.
Maybe
Okay, how about a limit you found?
pain.
Yeah, you don't like that. You're kind of a
I'm
girl,
not a pain guy sexually at all. No, that'll end some shit.
right?
At least
Immediately.
for a minute.
Just a minute.
Yeah, just maybe 2, 3, I mean, maybe 30 seconds. I mean, like, let me, that, I'm not a pain guy.
So, I guess we were talking about pet peeves there, and you said about 2 things. We said, first of all, like when one doesn't interact, and then the other one was when one person gets ignored. And I think that that's like, because the reason why I think couples are, at least couples that are like a good, you're going to meet up with them again, everything's hunky dory. At least for us, I think would just about be harder than finding a unicorn, because
Yeah, probably feeling the same way is way harder than 3, male or
right,
female.
right.
In that sense,
I mean, I think that like all have kind of similar kinks.
compatibility,
Yeah, like people who soft swap.
but they're new too. So who
Not
knows
always.
the
Some people do it forever.
experiences. But if they're not willing or not open to go further, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't exactly fall on the vanilla side of things. And well, I guess if you're going to do that, why waste it on boring shit?
Well, for some people it's not boring, but yeah, no, it's not our thing. We are not a soft swap couple, really.
We kind of party like rock stars, but on a budget of like, middle America.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. Party on rocks. That's why we only do it for like 5 minutes. That because
Right. Yeah. Well, and plus you got to be responsible and shit, fucking
parents and
adulting.
stuff. And then we did say that, you usually have one person, or you can have one person in the couple who is not as into it as the other one, or as everybody else.
Right.
And
No, that's
that's
the problem.
super awkward. Super awkward. And
And it's
that's
mostly the women.
usually that's what we've found, that it is mostly women that are less into it than their spouse is, their
I don't think
husband.
I've met one that's the other way yet. I don't think. Maybe we have, but I don't think so.
I don't think we have. And then there are like the jealous spouses, and like I say cringy husbands because it's generally the husbands that are being cringy to us, where they either like they're coming on super strong and that's where they're ignoring their wife and it's not a four-way conversation, or they try to
I
like
mean, if you're just there to
insinuate.
show up and bang my wife and, and get your rocks off because you're tired of your wife, that's not exactly what I'm after. So, or I
Right.
think we're after more so, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're going to take the time to find a couple that you all get along, let's try and find somebody who you can like get along with for more than like 15 minutes the sex is going to take at a time.
I don't
You do
know.
it for a while.
People,
Okay, so 15 minutes, but
people say, oh, I can go for hours and hours. Who the fuck wants that, dude? I want to like, we're going to have a good time and then we're going to take a break and, go do something else for,
have
20, 30 minutes, go sit in the
Rice
hot tub,
Krispie treats.
have some Rice Krispie treats and then go, and do some more. You just,
Yeah,
we're more of the like, let things flow and go as
orgy.
long as everybody is having a good time.
I agree. I think that's more fun, where you can make it last for technically the whole thing lasts for hours because you're between the like goofing off and laughing and talking and flirting, and then, there's the sex, and then there's snacks. 'Cause there's always gotta be snacks,
right?
Rice Krispie treats.
It's so hard. Why do things that you know are probably ending up in an unpleasant experience? If you're more like us and you live in the middle of nowhere and you don't shit where you eat and you're an adult, you got, limited time. And sometimes you don't make it to, we don't make it down to Denver or wherever we go to go and have fun. And it's more about the quality for us than the quantity. And if you're going to find the quality and for the short period of time you can have some fun, you should try to have fun that entire time.
Right.
If you
Facts.
got a ticket to New York, why would you
Why
get
get
off in
off?
Chicago? Would you get off halfway through the journey and just say fuck it, I'm done? That's boring.
And I think the last reason why sometimes couples are difficult is because they really just want a unicorn, which is cool. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But often they don't understand that they call them a unicorn because they're a unicorn and they're hard to find. So
Really hard to find.
we have met one couple that had the unicorn that were at that orgy. I swear to God, they were both way into it.
That's the only
I was
ones,
super happy. Like everybody was super happy in that one.
right?
They were a lot of fun
Well, then
too.
there's that weird thruple here that we got local that I think is like Jesus Christ, what the fuck? But I mean, like,
But
it's definitely you can tell that the relationship is more with one partner than the other,
yes, that one definitely is
or the
pretty
emotional
fun.
relationship. And maybe that's the whole point of like a thruple is maybe you're balancing all of that because
That could be.
the one
Because I mean,
person
like,
gets
not
the more
everybody's gonna
emotional
give.
support and the other
Not everybody.
person gets this more sexual support, and the unicorn is
Fills that
happy
need
and willing to provide both of those, and
for what
the
she
other
gets.
two, yeah, for what she gets. And it's a transactional thing. Maybe it's just whoring yourself out for a good time.
Or it's a lot of them have, like, emotional attachments. We
Oh
usually
yeah,
think
no, I'm
that
not saying
emotional
you don't.
attachments to people as well as other people do.
No, we're not real
We
great at
like
that.
to have fun.
Right. We're about having fun and we want everybody else to have fun.
So
Some
not gonna
people just
stick
aren't as
down.
intense as we are, and we figured that out, and we're okay with that for the most part.
We just get really excited about new toys.
Or new adventures.
So, first couple that we met, actually physically met up with after going through talking to, it felt like a lot, but probably wasn't a lot now that I think about it nowadays. We found this couple, and from their pictures, they were very attractive. They were actually from like the town over.
Far enough away.
Yeah, far enough away that they were not going to probably talk to somebody in the grocery. We weren't going to meet them in the grocery store. Really, is what it comes
Right.
down to.
And then we're gonna meet the people we knew in the grocery store and then start talking about things that shouldn't be talked about.
And we were paranoid back then, so like we didn't
Yeah,
even text.
way
We
paranoid.
were on Kick. We like told everybody we were from a different town than we were even from.
We still do that, but for good reason.
Well, yeah, but even after we got into where we were gonna like meet up with them, we're like, we don't need to tell you where we're from. So
No, it's just one of
anyway,
them things you gotta make a judgment, how crazy are they?
right? And you never know. Sometimes you do not know until you meet them, and you're like, oh lordy. So
Right.
I think we talked to him on Kick for at least a week. At
Yeah,
least a week.
probably.
They were both attractive. They had what we thought were our kinks back then, similar, They like to have sex in a heterosexual type way, and so did we.
Right. Everything seemed copacetic, like things
Right?
might be able to get along, actually have some fun, and more than just once. It seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they were
Until you,
so they invited us over to play cards. Or
until you show up at their house and you knock on the door and a naked 5-year-old answers the door.
yeah.
That just got
Yeah,
really
that's like,
fucking weird right
that's
out the gate.
super awkward. Yeah, I mean, because when you're doing that, especially considering for us it was the first time we'd done it, you're like, I
That
don't
was a
want
lot,
kids around. That's a mood killer.
right? So yeah,
I mean,
big
it
red
wasn't.
flag right when they
Yeah.
opened the door. We probably should have left right then.
Right. And then the wife spent
Hindsight.
probably the first, I don't know, 30 minutes we were there trying to put kids to bed and like chasing kids back to bed. And
Why would you not just make it a little bit later? And it, I mean, like the kids were going to be in bed. You could sit and visit, maybe not even do anything, just get to know each other, because obviously kids are there, but people don't think, I don't think.
And the husband was like super cringy because he was like ordering her around, and then he was like super like, I don't know, demeaning to her, said like
In my opinion, or our opinion,
he was not nice. He was not nice. And like at one point in life, she was just like, I think she was so done with it. So then we bailed, and we should have bailed so much earlier than we did.
we should have bailed when they opened the door.
So the second one that we met up with, we met up this time. We met up at Perkins because we were like, no kids at Perkins, right?
Right.
They were from the same town over. Like we were like, okay, this is gonna be good. We chatted with them on Kick for like a whole week. We'd seen pictures, shared pictures back and forth, the naked ones and the not. So I mean, we knew what their faces looked like.
Right.
So we meet at Perkins with them for coffee because they don't drink. So there was the first problem for us, is at least back then.
Didn't sound like they were partying. That's still an
Yeah.
issue. Wild and kinky sex and drugs and alcohol generally kind of go together. At least in my experiences so far, they seem to.
So we walk in, and at first we didn't recognize them because they are minimum 10 years older than the pictures that they sent. Minimum.
Misrepresented for sure.
Yes,
I mean, like you
that is
couldn't tell who
exact.
they were when you met them because based upon the pictures, and you'd seen multiples. Red flag.
And the lady had a missing front tooth.
Oh shit, yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
and that's judgy, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have sex with people, everybody has to want to get naked and have sex.
You definitely got to have like an attraction there, and for that level, for that is, I guess, different levels for different people. That's for you to decide. Yeah, you can't help how you feel.
I think that they could tell that it wasn't going to work out because I'm sure they saw the look of disappointment or whatever it was on her face, because I am terrible at hiding how I feel.
Oh yeah, no, she doesn't have to speak about half of the time because she tells you with her face.
Yeah, no, I'm not a poker player. So, and I mean, I felt bad. And they were really nice people. They were. But, like, in a normal, nice way. They just weren't
Right,
their particular flavor.
right.
So I went to the bathroom and I texted my best friend and told her she needed to call me and tell me that my dog had run away and nobody could find him, because these people who were like really into their dog. I just had to leave. It was I'm a horrible person. I just had to leave. It was a wreck, which is probably one of the red flags people think about us, is that we're just.
That's fine. We're probably a lot for most, 95% of people, but most of the time they have a really, they have a lot of fun.
So I thought we would do red light, green light, because I remember when we were kids, you do red light, green light, and life would be so much easier if people you didn't like, you could just green light them and clothesline them.
Right?
So first thing I thought is okay, green lights. We kind of talked about it. We said everybody in the group, like group chat, talks. And we always do group chat with couples because everybody needs to know what everybody's saying. And then nobody's confused and everybody has the ability to be part of the group.
We always have a group chat, whether well, 99% of the time, there's a group chat between the people that are going to meet up.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like a one night stand hookup thing, and then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, sometimes then it's just, you don't
Yeah.
even know their name.
Or don't remember, I can tell you that much.
Can remember it, right? Facts.
Oh, sometimes I should remember people's names and I forget them.
80.
Where you just call everybody sweetie and oh God, it works out real well.
Right?
Okay, so here's the other thing is I think they are also carrying the conversation. You're not always the person who first initiates the conversation that day. Like, hey, how's it going? Yes, you should do that, but you shouldn't be the person who does it every time.
Sometimes people are busy, they forget, I mean, or whatever. But if you're not actively seeking out to speak with us on, on a regular basis, and, we weren't returning that same thing to you, then, I think that's a flag for everybody.
Yeah, that's a red light. Green light is humor. Okay, I will, with single guys, if you don't entertain me or attract me because I'm that shallow and I'm just like, oh my God, you're so cute. But if you don't entertain me, the chances that I'm going to continue to talk to you long enough for us to hook up is pretty slim. I will overlook quite a bit of your of looks and dick size if you entertain
Becomes
me.
less important if you got a great personality.
Yeah, like you entertain me sounds really selfish, but like I have to enjoy talking to you. And if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it a couple of times, and in between times, you're probably gonna have to talk. This is one that always makes me nervous to start with. Is when somebody's really, really cautious about sending pictures, and I don't mean like you have to
Put
send
a
me
lot of
naked pictures. I don't even mean that you need to send me face pictures always, but like everybody has a picture of their body in normal clothes, and
or even with just underwear on or something, so that like everybody should. Nobody should be surprised when they show up. What
or
they're
the picture
yeah,
is super zoomed in. That's the other one where you're like, oh, you're hiding something, because I've done it myself. Like I know I've done it before.
yeah.
I
It's
was,
not. It comes back to that whole honesty thing,
they're gonna see it. They're
right?
literally gonna see
You
it.
can't hide it.
I
Don't
mean, don't get me
misfix
wrong.
it.
Like angles are your friend.
Right.
Take a good picture. Don't like. There's that lady on Instagram, and I will post like the link to her Instagram, and she even has like how to take good dick pics. I don't remember
Right.
her name, but she's
Yeah.
brilliant. And the other one I think that's like a huge one is that you have to have you do have to have a criteria. And like for example, one of ours is we're real upfront and honest with the fact that we do psychedelics, we smoke a lot of weed.
Really give a shit. I don't drink. We don't drink very rarely. I guess at the end of the day, I've seen so many more people die from alcohol and kill people with alcohol than I ever have on weed.
Well,
I
but
have way more
if
fun on
they're
it.
not going to be okay with that stuff,
Then
well,
that's
we're
what
not
I
going to
do.
push it on anybody. But if they're not going to be
No
okay with
judgment.
that stuff, then we're all not going to have a whole lot of fun. And whether that is that, whatever your limits are or what you like to do, if that person or that couple isn't going to match up with that, then you're probably not going to have fun. Just saying.
That is
Like
that's
anal.
that's
Just saying. If you're not into it, we're not going to have a whole lot of fun. Maybe. If you are, we are going to have a whole lot of fun.
right. Maybe we're just more upfront and brutally honest about stuff.
I talked to a guy on Instagram, and he said that that him and his wife have the same exact problem because they come from rural Wyoming
America.
and have a hard time finding couples that they have anything in common with because there's so few of us in this part of the country and we're so spread out. But actually, I'm finding that there are a lot more than I thought.
There is.
There is. Yes.
That also is one of them things is that you're encouraged to talk about these things, and you're encouraged to introduce yourself to people.
And be like, hey, I'm May, and this is my husband, and hey, you want to like talk and hang out? I mean, don't interrupt
Do you
people's.
mind us? Yeah, I mean, don't be rude. Hey, do you mind if we join in? We've never had anybody that was unwelcoming. I mean, like that's the thing about this lifestyle is most people uh, overwhelmingly are really welcoming.
And
So,
we are super judgy compared to most people.
well, I mean, like you grow up in this environment, in this atmosphere, and you're taught that every single bit of this is so taboo that you don't even talk about it. You don't do it, and you don't talk about it. And the weird thing is then you grow up and you realize that how many of them people that were doing, telling you these things and acting like this was all bad, were doing the key parties and
Right.
having a great old time, and they're telling you that that that's bad, you can't talk about. Well, they don't go around talking about it either. Some things should stay private and some things shouldn't be so private. I mean, like, or don't need to be so private, I guess. But that's the thing about America, you just do you, as long as you're not hurting anybody else and everybody's consensual.
Now, here's the thing. I think that a lot of this is you're just going to have the like luck of the draw because people are going to misrepresent themselves and people are going to lie. And
People are going to underrepresent themselves.
I think asking questions is the best way that you can eventually figure out kind of an idea of whether or not a person's being honest or not. Because the worst one is when you have somebody who presents themselves as a couple, but is not a couple and then starts messing up their
Who
pronouns
they are,
or which one
or
they are or what.
subtle
But,
things that you're like, well, that's weird.
right. And if you are in a group
Those are
chat, then
generally
you have
photo
everybody.
video minors that they're just looking to get as many photos and videos, attention, somebody to talk to them because they probably live in their fucking mom's basement, so they just want somebody to talk to them and pay attention to them, because that's not my kink. Some girls or guys, that's their kink. They're into that online relationship. It represents yourself as somebody that's interested in meeting up and everything else, that's just shitty.
So I guess that kind of ties into what the other one was, is trust your gut. But have a set, like a set standard.
Now, I had a buddy back when I was like, this is back when I was like 16. And he was in the army, and he used to always say he had standards but no morals. Yeah, because I mean, like, he was willing to fuck anybody, and as long as he was gonna have a good time. Didn't matter if they were married, not married, old, young. I mean, like, shit, this is awkward as fuck. um Caught him and my older sister in the lawn at her house, and she was giving him a blowjob. You want to talk about awkward as shit? But
That
shit
would definitely
happens when
be an
you're already
awkward
naked.
couple.
Oh, I'm just saying that's how wild this guy was. He just didn't care. I mean, like, I don't think people should be that way necessarily, but make sure that whatever you're willing and not willing to do, you have clearly defined in your own
Yes.
mind and with the people you're meeting up with.
What I was talking about was, there is, for example, in my profile on Reddit or on FetLife, or when I've had profiles on anything else, I always put somewhere in there like, if you've read this far, say, show me your titties when you message me. Or, this is what we're into.
Or don't just enter my inbox with, hey, because it literally says that.
So, and if you start going, well, maybe he's a nice guy, then you end up wasting your time talking to people who you knew were not going to be all that great of a fit, because they couldn't even be bothered to read what you wrote. So have your line, like, this is my line. I'm not talking to you if you can't.
That comes down to don't undervalue
XYZ.
yourself. If you start to compromise your red lines where you're willing to go and not go, and you're not compromising them out of from the right place, you can't let red lines move so fast and so much. You will regret. You will have regrets.
Yes. And you'll waste your time. So I think that's kind of basically what we had to say today about awkward couples. There's, a few more stories.
Plenty of shit awkward.
Right. I'm sure we're like super awkward couples. Like, I mean, like, and we've been turned down. So we obviously were probably the awkward couple. So there's that.
For them, we were. Sometimes we're definitely not everybody's cup of tea.
No, we're not. So, well, thank you very much, honey. I appreciate it. And
Anytime.
now back to the secret of the show, the butt plug. It's been 3 days since we recorded, and I finally got to editing, and Mr. West will not know until I get done, and he gets to listen to the episode for the first time. So I will let you guys all know on the next episode exactly how that went. Make sure you subscribe and check out my social media for more stories, fun, and ways to join in on the fun. The May Wyld West Show is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can also send emails to me at maywildwest@gmail.com. And I also have an Instagram and a Reddit page, which are at May Wyld West. And my website link is in the podcast description. If you had a good time with me today, and I'm always a good time, please make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss out on a single riveting story from the craziest gal in all of the Wild West. Also, don't forget to share my podcast with your other inappropriate friends. And I will see you later.